Hello everyone, I am Denzel24, and tonight, depending on what day you guys are in, today we're playing two characters who are good at punching. I can only say it. But that said, today's combatants are from RPG, that being these two. Tifa Lockhart from Final Fantasy VII versus Niijima from Persona 5. Both of them are definitely tougher and pretty much the brawn of the group and smart on some of them, but who will win? Let's find out. Welcome to Versus. To start off, let's start with Tifa, the first OG of the brawler. Now, Tifa was born in town of Nibelheim. Her childhood with Klaus Stray is a bit lost contact, to be honest. Ever since Klaus pretty much joined the military elite and so on as soldier, but over time she managed to learn some few martial arts from her teacher, which I forgot his name, to be honest. But over time she became a well-known fighter as well as perfect pupil for her master, up until based off the Nibelheim incident where Sephiroth find out his mother and he's a clone of her. Yeah, it's a really charming one for Mother's Day. However, even though Sephiroth was defeated by her best friend Cloud actually suffered of amnesia. He does remember some few events, but mainly different. On that day, both Cloud and Tifa pretty much move away from Nibelheim after being destroyed and decided to move towards Midgard, where they joined up with Red to join against Shinra and his corp. As for Mewtwo, it's a bit different. After her father murdered for 3 long years, Mewtwo is definitely a partake with her sister Sue, which has become useless to her. And based on during the time, she pretty much got assigned by her principal. I forgot his name, but the precisely, he believes that it was a friend of these that caused the incident with the volleyball coach. And some our time and join the protagonist as Joker, and to prove the friend of these are not bad guys, they took her to the Amasia Palace, though it does let her become much more rebellious. You see, during the time of the game, if anyone on the rebellious side, they get outlawed to their Phantom Thieves, and such, Makoto did, and basically not becoming her own persona itself. Even led to join up with Joker and the other gang to face off against any Shadow demons or precise Shadow on the adult side to defending those who are committed by sin, mainly the 7 deadly sins, to be honest. It doesn't have a lot of feelings in it, does it? With that out of the way, what they can do? Well, Tifa, as a fighter, she's definitely proven herself a combat as such. Rosaria, she's really good at punching as well as limb breaks, but we'll get to that later. For now, let's talk about her arsenal equipment. There's a lot of gloves I could talk about, like her classic leather gloves, but there's a lot to go on, so here's a few I can say, such as the Grand Glove, and that's what a hit type, but her most powerful one had to be her Primitive Hearts, where it can damage much more Mew and unlock her limited gear, as well with the Rim Band, which now fights any fire, ice, holy, and greater damage, as well with the Ribbon, which represents her fall friend, Eris. Yeah, that's the thing, and based on it's actually useful. Which come with, in some versions, give her resistance to poison, blind, sight, etc. She also has Materia, a substance of the Final Fantasy VII, which can give a cast of spells, let's say fire, bio, demi, aka gravity, and so forth. And even in the Final Fantasy game, she possesses limit breaks. Limit breaks are pretty much her movesets. With these, she can able to perform some great hits, and surprisingly, some of them are at a casino slot. With B-Rush, she can able to sweep powerful punches, Water Kick when she swoop kick, as well Meteor Strike, Dolphin Blow, and yes, that's an actual move, Meteor Strike, and of course, her final attack, the Final Heaven, where she can cause 2.6 times normal damage at best. And surprisingly, can able to cause a nuclear explosion for some reason. Say, don't blame me, don't ask the elders and gamers, they pretty much don't something was going on with movesets. That in mind, she did prove a lot of feats as her strengths, and basically became thus, especially when it comes down with tactic. With that being said, let's talk about Mewtwo. And surprisingly, Mewtwo is really surprisingly strong. I mean, seriously. There was one episode in the beach scene in Going to Royale, she literally punched that volleyball so hard. With that in mind, she had a mindset due to being one of the smartest students at Shoto Academy. However, there's a few things about her. As a Phantom Thieves, she possesses knuckle dusters, a 4 weapon that she can use in melee attacks. As for the choice of gun, a rifle, which can only fire about 6 rounds before reloading. To put it simply, is her strongest gun I can think of. And of course, she possesses a persona. A persona is kind of like a representative to anyone, but different between persona users. And her persona is called, well, based on Joey, her first persona, which she has a motorcycle and had played a few moves. However, if she want to upgrade her own, she can upgrade to Anchi, her ultimate persona, where it is based off a goddess. She is much more extreme with capable of transformation, human appearance, as well as equipping her own blades. And surprisingly, she is immune to any nuclear attacks. So there's that. And both Jura and Anchi have the same movesets, such as Fire Blast, Energy Shower, Flash Bomb, Defense Master, Nuclear Flake, as well as Material and Nuke Pole and Cooling Atomic Flare. A based on ability that a moveset that deals several nuclear damage one foe to another, based on either damage to burn, freeze, or shock anyone nearby. As for Energy Shower, it's pretty much cure anyone who are under the confusion or brainwash. With that in mind, both of them are pretty much good at it, but when it comes with characters like these, they have flaws. While Tifa is a strong fighter, she, in most of the occasions and situations, she needs to fight an opponent up close, which could be a bad move, considering if her opponent is either good at it or just good at far distance. She tends to be also a glass cannon in terms of gameplay and in terms of fighting, of course. and she will occasionally be rescued or need assistance in some fights. Some of them, not all the time, but some of them. And even if she can able to gain access to restoring or receive materia, she can still instantly die, and most likely under extreme conditions, mainly if something goes wrong. Pretty much there's that. Though I have a question though, how old is she? I'm not referring her to her rest, but seriously, these are pretty much changed lately. With that in mind, but don't look like Tifa is a good strong heart, but based on she has some problems, mainly as a Grand Canyon, and she tends to win her fights on her own, but sometimes she needs to be rescued or need assistance in case of any emergencies, or she needs any help. As for Mewtwo, her flaws is definitely kinda correct. You see, her power is mostly contained on the metaverse, her source of power. Without it, outside of metaverse, she's just a normal human, and her powers in fact only work inside of the metaverse. Though we're not gonna count any flaws and outside of metaverse, so we're counting down here, determining if we can able to use it or not. Even with that, by using her persona attacks, it can also let her to get hurt. And despite her own tactics, she can be quite reckless, as well as her own temper can get to her. Like, there are some moments that she have in her, mainly to the Japanese version of the game, Persona 5 Scramble, as well as both Persona 5 as well as Royale. It definitely shows there. Well, it had to do with the fact that her own father was accused for murder, as well as some other events with her sister. But then again, her sister and herself pretty much resolved, but still. But put it simply, Mewtwo, a good fighter as well as a smart to the Phantom Thieves, but she tends to be reckless when her temper gets to her, and outside of higher powers being metaverse, she can also be hurt by her own persona attacks that can instantly get her killed or get hurt. Besides all that, both Tifa and Mewtwo are definitely the strongest of the group, and mainly with good reasons. But both of them had to win this episode, so who will win? The Phantom Thief or the Avalanche member? This one was a pretty tricky one, but in the end, I think it's pretty clear because the winner of this episode is Mewtwo and Niijima. Now, there are some other ways that Tifa could have won this fight if I were to include outside of the metaverse, but it had to make it fair for both of them. In conclusion, Mewtwo won. Now, keep in mind, there are some advantages that Tifa have her against Mewtwo, that being from living string as well, depending debatable in experience as well as intelligence, well, technically only experience. She has experience against tough foes like Sephiroth as well as others, including Shinra, and her living string is pretty much good at best. Somewhere with her limit breaks, because she can able to lift monsters 10 times stronger than her size. But even then, it mostly comes down to is intelligence, striking strength and attack potency, and speed. While she can able to use some other speed feats, especially faster than the original game in case of with Sephiroth. But comparing to her and Mitra, it's pretty much cut down to in the galaxy span, much more faster than Tifa's on speed feat. And pretty much when it comes down with that, she able to know that we can react to and dodge a galaxy spin explosion, which to be fair, a much better speed feat at best. And her striking straight, it could go towards Tifa even for a few things. Well, Mewtwo definitely assists in the defeat of Joshua, who can able to be confined in reality on a universe scale. But even then, I still say the strength triangle attack slash attack potency still go to Mewtwo due to the fact that she can be superior to Shadow Ultra, whose powers can contain countless stars, somewhere between multi sword system level at best. While she does have that, but mostly Tifa is sword system level, but it's definitely up close. But Moto's strength is much superior, as well as durability and intelligence. While both Tifa and Moto are definitely known for their experience, but I think at best, Moto can able to outnumber and find ways to defeat Tifa, as well as durability. It's pretty much saying the strength. So basically, now comparing these two, it's pretty much comparing two apples and oranges. While Tifa maybe experience have more living strength than Moto, but in the end, when it comes down to our stats, as well her persona can resist to other ways from Tifa's own attacks, especially limit breaks. It's pretty much count down to is the stats, as well what the durability are. In other ways, Tifa's heart has been steeled. The winner is Niijima.
Get ready for the next battle.
Just heads up for next time. It's gonna be a co-host one with Sonic Man Phantom. We decided to pick up this matchup because considering the next episode is gonna be a 25th one. With that said, what is gonna be the matchup for 25th episode of Reverses? Well, here's a trailer from the co-host himself.